What's up, guys? I hope everybody's doing well. I'm going live today. I know it's 7 p.m. on a Sunday night. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope you guys are doing good. Hopefully everybody had a good weekend. Tomorrow we're back at it. We're back to work. We were out there today shooting on a couple videos, so I'm pretty excited about getting that out to you. But we're going to be talking about diesel talk today. I'm going to be talking about repairs, and I want to discuss with you guys the best way on which I suggest on how to join the trucking industry. I want to share some information with you guys that I notice across the board. I'm a diesel repair mechanic, technician, and I've been in the industry for a pretty long time. So I've owned trucks, and I see new guys coming in, and I see the repairs that are coming into the shop, and I'm really tied into logistics as well. So you know, what I'm going to share with you today about how to join the trucking industry, I hope is going to be very helpful for you and very informative. So stay tuned, guys. We're going to be answering questions at the end of the show, guys. I don't want to answer them during the show so that I can just get the message across. Some of the guys that are tuning in today, we're going to be talking about how to join the trucking industry. I'm going to be talking about common repairs. We're going to be talking about just and have the live Q&A at the end of the show. So one thing I want to mention that I see pretty often when guys join the trucking industry, they want to get out there and buy their own truck, which if you guys already got your own truck and you're out here pumping it out, you know, God bless you. I mean, I'm glad everybody's out there. We need truck drivers. We need them. Okay, but this is what I'm going to suggest to you, a better approach if you guys have not joined the trucking industry yet and you're wanting to join as a truck driver or as a diesel technician. Now, either one of these are going to be in major need, guys. The need for these drivers has not let up. It's still in high demand, and it's only going to be in even higher demand. Let me know if you guys can hear me all right. If I need to turn the audio up, let me know. So what I've noticed is a lot of guys will buy a truck, and of course they buy the truck whether they're not checking maintenance or not. If you guys haven't checked my other videos on how to buy a used truck, check that out. So they're buying a truck, and guys, if you don't have enough money saved up, you know, where, say for example, you buy a truck for 20, 30,000, or if you want to get something less than that, you know, really market value is even higher than that. Market value, I want to say right now for a new road ready truck. When I say road ready, I mean the truck is going to be ready to hook up to a heavy load and run that truck, whether you're going to go across the state or across the United States. Okay, you want to have a safe road ready truck. Now market appreciate that, Ray. So the market value on a truck right now, I would say anywhere from 45 to 50,000 for a road ready truck. Okay, so keep this in mind. All right, that's a lot of money. All right, so if you're gonna buy a truck, $20,000, $30,000, 40, I would say I don't mean to shoot so low. It's been a while since I've shopped for trucks. I know right now they're in very high demand. So if you buy a truck, 45, 50,000 road ready, that should be a ready truck. Anything below that, you may be spending what you didn't spend up to 45 to 50,000 if that's market value at this point. Okay, so for example, if you spend $20,000 on a truck and you expect that truck to be road ready, it's not gonna happen. Okay, it's not gonna happen. And when you buy a truck that's not road ready at $20,000, you're gonna end up spending another 20, 30,000 on that truck to get it road ready. Now, what happens whenever you have another breakdown after you just spent this 20, 30,000? What I'm getting at is it's very expensive. It's very expensive to get out there on your own, guys. Very expensive. It's not cheap. You're gonna be looking for freight, buying insurance, putting your tags. If you're going across state lines, you're going to get portionated tags. So you're going to be facing a lot of costs to get on the road and be ready. So if you don't have the finances in place and you're not saving money and you don't have quite a bit of money saved up to get on the road, you can have a breakdown that's going to shut you down and possibly put you out of business. Okay, so I see this a lot, and what I'm going to suggest to you guys, the guys that haven't joined the trucking industry or thinking about joining, I would suggest joining with a big fleet. You know, big fleets right now are being very competitive. There's a lot of competition. They're being very competitive on trying to get drivers. So join a big fleet, learn the system, get your feet wet, learn how to get the things moving, save some money. Make sure to save some money if you're gonna buy a truck. buy the truck while you're still running under the company, and still save some money. You put that truck in the shop, make sure everything's ready, get your tags ready while you're still working. Still save up some money. I would still save up another 15,000 if you could. 15, that may be shooting kind of high, but if you could possibly save 15 and then ready to get out there on the road, then you will be a little bit more confident if you have a major breakdown, because a lot of these breakdowns that happen with inexperienced owners ends up costing a lot of money, guys. So I just kind of want to share this information with you. I really want to see more drivers out there and more technicians. Any trade right now is really suffering for new hires. There's not a lot of people that are new hires that are coming onto the field. So, being out there, we want you guys to be able to make it. So being able to make it on your own is going to be tough unless you know the ropes already. You know what freight you're pulling. You know what load boards you're using. You know how much you're spending and what your expenses are and what's going to cost you to keep that truck running for the next few months so that you can actually make some money and generate some money, okay? So this information that I'm sharing with you is what I've seen across the board with some drivers that, jump into the industry, pretty new, and over time either have a breakdown, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate if you don't have the money saved up. So, and you don't have the money saved up, you're going to get put out of business. There's not a lot of places that are going to finance any repairs or anything like that. So it gets really expensive when you get out there on your own, guys, and you own your own truck. You can ask pretty much any owner operator that's on the channel how much or what does it cost to be an owner, and it's not cheap. And so those are the things that I kind of wanted to cover. Join a big fleet, learn the system, save some money, buy the truck, take your time, buy the truck, while you're still working for this fleet, generating money. Get the truck ready, get your tags, get your insurance, find out where you're going to be running, who you're going to be running with. Right now, equipment right now is still at a shortage. We don't see anything to change in the next, possibly a year when it comes to the strain of equipment. If you guys are in the market for buying a new truck, if you go to the dealers, the trucks at the dealers are not lasting long. They're there for maybe a few days and they're gone. These are new trucks. There's tons of used trucks out there, guys. So check out my other videos. If you are going to buy a used truck, make sure you're checking maintenance records. As I mentioned, it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough to get a truck with maintenance records. I know a lot of guys that buy trucks with no maintenance records because it's just not available. It's not available. So you're really taking a chance, guys. You're really taking a chance when you buy a truck with no maintenance. If you want to check out my other videos on how to buy a used truck, I go over just, what to look for, taking it to an outside mechanic, not using like the dealer's mechanics. They're not going to really go through it. And I just seen a comment pop up, and that's something that I didn't mention about joining fleets is there, like I mentioned, right now fleets are very aggressive to hire drivers on. Gerald just mentioned right now that Walmart has a $1,500 sign-on bonus after 90 days. So basically they're throwing money at you guys to get in these trucks and get moving. So if you are watching this channel and you don't have a plan, or you don't know what you're doing, you're still at home, or you don't have a plan, get your CDL, get out here and get driving. Drivers are a big need right now. The freight, everyone knows how freight is looking. Everybody that's moving freight right now, freight is not letting up right now. If you guys are paying attention to the news, I know I don't like to listen to the news too much, but it's good to know at least what's going on out there. And we see another wave of this pandemic, and I know I don't want to speak too much about this pandemic because I know everybody has this fatigue on this pandemic, but it's coming again, and with this Delta, and basically it's just putting another strain on the trucking industry. Capacity is strained as it is. There's not enough trucks. There's not enough drivers. So yeah, you're gonna be getting paid a lot of money to jump in trucks. So I appreciate everybody that's joining us today, and I appreciate everybody that's sharing what their experience. I'm going to go over the comments as we go along, further along. I just kind of want to stay on the subject about what we're talking about, how to join. We see a lot of guys come in the shop and they don't have, enough money saved up for repairs that happen. And most of the time you'll have after treatment problems. That's going to be your number one problem. Now, what I don't recommend you guys do, and I know you guys are, some people have their opinion about deletes. I don't recommend you guys taking a cheap approach, a $1,500, $1,600 delete to patch a $20,000, $30,000 system. You're really gambling. You're really gambling with what could happen to that truck. Now, I have had a lot of trucks that come into the shop after deletes with low power complaints. And usually it's going to be a scuffed cylinder liner or a bad head. And honestly, it's already challenging to find a low power complaint with a truck maybe that doesn't have a lot of maintenance. All of a sudden they have low power. They maybe been to a few shops, haven't had maintenance done or haven't had repairs done in a while, and they come in and get a low power complaint with a delete. That's really challenging for a technician. That's really challenging because these softwares, as I mentioned, the hacks, they're different. There's so many different ways that they're doing it. You can probably get one done at QT at your next fuel stop. So, I mean, that's just how easy they're out there. And most of these guys that are hooking up these laptops and deleting your systems, they don't see you again. They don't worry about what you got. They don't have a physical shop to be able to take care of you. So when you do have problems a year down the road and you have these low power complaints, there's really no thing that they can do. These different hacks. So when we go on to try to troubleshoot these low power complaints, it's some of the software is not usable. We can't access some of the routines that we run, these maintenance routines and these tests that we run with software. So this software that we use is very useful. I know a lot of people say, hey, everybody can't do anything with a computer. Guys, these newer trucks right now, you cannot. If you're trying to troubleshoot a truck without a computer, without a good computer, then, or I would say with manufacturer software, not these third-party softwares that kind of grab the manufacturer software and kind of build their own system. Those aren't going to work for you. You may be able to pull some codes, but running tests, cylinder balance tests, compression tests, there's different tests that you can run, especially with the DD15 on the fuel systems. The fuel systems are very complex. So there's different tests that you can run to cancel out what's going on in the system. So, those softwares are very useful. When you have a hack delete on there, it makes it really difficult for us to try to figure out what's going on with the truck, guys. So get out there, and if you're not driving, guys, get out here and get your CDL and get on the road. You're going to make some money, okay? You're going to make some money. You might have to say goodbye to home for a little bit. Different fleets are different when it comes to home time. Sometimes you have to earn your days off. Maybe after being out 3 weeks, you can get a couple days off. That's how it works. That's just usually how most fleets work. Until you stack up your money and be able to buy your own truck. I don't suggest once you have enough money to buy a truck but don't have enough saved up to buy plates, insurance, and basically all the extras that you're going to need to get that truck rolling. I wouldn't do it. I would just hang on, keep saving money. Right now, the big guys are moving the freight. There's so much freight out there. There's so much freight that it's overpouring. It's overpouring from the main carriers and going on to the market freight is what it's called. Market freight is basically freight that's not covered by major carriers and have to actually get put on the market like load boards. And that market freight is at its highest right now. And that's really what's driving a lot of these guys to get out there and want to do it on their own because of all this money that's coming out, when it comes to market freight and how much shippers are paying to move freight. Guys, they have everything booked. Ships are booked. Containers are booked. There's a container shortage right now. There's a trailer shortage right now. So if you say, for example, if you do have your own truck and you're not doing that well out there, another option for you guys that own your own truck is you can run. I see Landstar that's doing all right. Landstar is doing pretty good. So what I like about Landstar is you're still able to book your own loads as if you're on your own. There is a percentage that you're going to get cut in. They're going to cut in. So that really is what you're going to have to kind of run your numbers on and figure out. I still see a lot of guys with Landstar that are making decent money. What I do like about Landstar is they have a maintenance counts that they actually pull from your check to generate a maintenance account so that you can use when you have a breakdown. Breakdowns are going to happen. It's just it's inedible. I mean, it's gonna happen. And guys, don't beat me up too bad about my grammar. You know, I'm from Texas. You know, we this is considered the South. Some guys may not consider it the South. I know most people think or most people consider Florida, you know, Georgia, that area the South. Texas is the South as well. So basically, what I'm saying is my grammar's not perfect. English is my first language, but I didn't do too well in English. I did better in mechanic and mechanical engineer. I did more in that. So don't beat me up too bad about my pronunciation, guys. I'm doing my best, but I appreciate everybody that's joined us today. Make sure to hit that like button. If you hadn't hit that like button yet, hit that like button. I'm glad everybody's joining us today. We're gonna get with guys to your questions. If you want your question to be highlighted, you can use Super Chat and text. Thanks for correcting me on that spot market. Okay, it's not market rate, spot market. There's different language that they use, but it's basically overflowed freight that can't be handled by the major carriers, and it ends up going on the market. And you're able to get there. Yeah, Tex, I appreciate that, Tex Garcia. You're probably from Texas as well, so you guys should be used to the slang if you're not from Texas. So yeah, guys, be careful out there, man. I know you guys are getting out there and you want to make this money and grab this money, but you just got to understand, moving a truck is very expensive. You can look at, I did this a while back. I did this a few years ago. A long time ago, I look back. If you look at publicly traded companies like JB Hunt, Schneider. Now, a publicly traded company means that you can buy stock in the company. Now, when they're publicly traded like that, what that means is you can actually go online and look at their financials. Guys, financials are profit and loss statements. These are where their money is going, where their money is spent. Okay, so really, you don't have to look at every line item on there and figure out where their money's going. Where you want to pay attention to is the net profit. Now, the net profit is what's left over after everything. Usually, it's at a percentage. Usually, they measure it by a percentage. Now, if you look at JB Hunt, now I haven't looked at them recently. I'm pretty sure they're doing better with the pandemic and what e-commerce has done, but they're usually around single digits. Now, what this means is they spend a lot of the money that they generate. Okay, and I mean, it's even if you shrink it down to a 1-truck fleet or a 2-truck fleet, you can look at their P&L and their financials. Most of their money, and I mentioned this in my other videos, is going to go fuel, maintenance, insurance. Drivers are usually going to be next if you're not the one driving the truck. If you're the owner, you're going to be the last one paid. That's just how it is. You know, being the last one paid is usually how owners start off. Until you really can grow your fleet and grow your margins and grow, then you're really going to be able to, you know, pay yourself. I see a lot of guys that don't spend money on their trucks. You know, they make money, they get a paycheck, and they don't spend money on their trucks. I'm not trying to tell you guys how to spend money. That's not what this is about today. I'm just trying to give you some information because I don't want you guys to fail. I want you guys to succeed. You know, the more success that we have out there, the more trucks we're going to have, the more movement we're going to have, and just the more work is going to be all around. Tradesmen are at a shortage right now, whether it's plumbers, diesel technicians. You know, we are at our new location now, 4140 Langdon Road in Dallas, Texas. We are not at our old location off of 45, guys. So be sure to come and see us off of Bonneview and Langdon Road, okay? We're right behind the Premier Truck Group off of Bonneview. Call to schedule an appointment, 972-225-3017. And since we've been at our new location, guys, we are hiring as well. We are looking to add on to our team, but we're looking for the right person. So if you're a diesel technician and you want to explore, you may not like where you're at, you may not like your hours, you may not like who you're working with, check us out. Send us an email, info@tatexpressinc.com, or you can check us out on my website, tatexpressinc.com. Go to our careers page. We're hiring diesel technicians and service writers / customer service representatives. If you are in the industry with customer service and you understand the industry, how to communicate with the customers and the technicians on getting their maintenance done and getting their repairs done, give us a shout. Okay, I apologize for not being able to reach out to people that are wanting to start, but you got to understand this is a very high-paced industry. Trucking is a very high-paced industry. If you're not ready to get out there and really be a multitask, that's really, I mean, any job right now is going to be asking you to multitask. So guys, apply if you're interested. We have competitive pay, paid vacation, paid insurance, and paid weekends. I'm sorry, not paid weekends. paid. Sorry about that. I meant weekends off. For now, we have weekends off because most of our work is from Monday through Friday. A lot of my guys, a lot of the technicians that are with us have families, so they do have the weekends off. School's about to start, guys, so that's another thing that's putting a strain on the trucking industry. School is already starting. School supplies has put a big strain on people on the trucking industry alone. You know, we talked about how ports are congested. You know, I read that Houston actually was offline for, I think it was sometime last month. They were offline for I want to say about a week because of software issues. That's nuts. You know, they had to shut a whole port down for software issues. That's crazy. So what I'm saying, what I was mentioning is last week I was talking about how ports are so backed up with ships. Anchors are just, no, not paid weekends, guys. We're taking that off. That's, you know, not, I just joke. That was a mistake, guys. And this is not scripted. So there will be mistakes. Don't beat me up about it, but no paid weekends. Anyway, we talked about KPIs, key point indicators on the ports, and what they're looking at is anchor times. We talked about 8 days, 10-day anchor times that, you know, before ships are actually pulled in and unloaded. The labor shortage that's happening across America. There's a lot of people that left the workforce during the first wave and not wanting to come back to the workforce. Now, for whatever reason it is, we need to get guys back to work. Now, if you are a qualified technician and you're a qualified driver, trust me, you're going to be able to kind of not really choose where you go, but you got an option. You can talk to people, and there are options for you. And if you're interested in joining our team, give us a shout, 972-225-3017, or send us your resume at info@tatexpress.com. I'm going to get to you guys this question shortly. If you guys want to highlight your question, make sure to hit me up on Super Chat so I can buy me a coffee or something. He hit me up a coffee right now. This is a coffee from this morning. So let me take a sip here. Yeah, it's already cold. So anyway, major carriers are the best way to go. Don't jump out there and buy your truck on your own without having enough money saved up and knowing the industry. That's basically called bootstrapping. In finance, that's called bootstrapping when you don't have, you know, financial support or the savings. A lot of companies do that. You know, there's, you know, a lot of banks aren't wanting to lend money for a truck. You know, banks are getting a little bit tighter now because they know that, you know, there are some delinquent accounts that are happening. You know, with the pandemic, there's so much money that's being pumped out by the government that some of the money that was spent on mortgage relief that ended. So there's just a lot of different stuff that's happening in the financial industry that are scaring banks. So banks aren't really wanting to loan money for trucks. It's really tough to get a loan unless you're going to the dealer. I think they have different loans. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure on how. I just know that I've had customers come in who try to get financing on some of their trucks, and it's just not working for them. Guys, if you want to share your comments on if you just got a truck finance and you want to share your interest rates, share it. I would be more than happy to, or more than I'm interested. I want to know. I learn a lot from my viewers. So I saw a comment here, someone saying join Swift. Swift is not a bad place. I know there's a lot of new drivers that join that, so that's why you see so many mistakes happening with Swift. The same thing, kind of like if you switch up the tech, you know, kind of like the trade, and talk about technicians. Some people join TA, Travel Centers of America, or other large repair shop chains to kind of learn how to work on trucks. Now, I don't recommend you guys get your trucks repaired in those locations that have the guys learning, because you're going to see there's a lot of things that happen. You know, drain plugs left loose, overfilling. I see a lot of overfilling that comes into our shop, guys that overfill oil in the truck. And you don't want to overfill a DD15 or any truck right now. Any truck, a X15, a Volvo, all it's going to do is cause, all this is going to do is cause excessive oil pressure and cause oil leaks all over the place. And most of the time, the oil leaks is going to be in tough areas like rear housings. They may start in lower, smaller areas like a fuel pump or a compressor, something like that. But once you start having that excessive pressure in the crankcase, you're going to bust gaskets, and it's kind of be like patching holes. You patch one hole, and another hole comes up. Now, so I got to fix this oil leak. Now this oil leak comes up. This oil leak comes up. That oil leak comes up. So, you don't want to deal with that type of repairs. It's just a bunch of mess. So, guys, I'm really anxious to get to your guys' comments, but I just kind of wanted to stay on the subject about, we're talking about how to join the trucking industry. I did the title Diesel Talk because I want to talk more about just diesels, repairs, maintenance. We see I just did of what's in the shop video that I'm going to be releasing soon. I do have my 60 series video that is supposed to be released this week, and we did do another video on a piston pin failure. I know you guys saw. I don't know if you saw the photo that I uploaded throughout the week, but we had a piston pin failure come in. And I just shot a video on that, so we're going to get that video produced and out to you guys. And it's a pretty informative video, so I hope you guys enjoy it. So, as I mentioned, be careful, guys, out there. Don't, save up just enough money to get out there and get on the road and not have enough savings up. So, I kind of want to get to these questions, so let's get to these questions. If you want to add on to what I've just talked about, you're more than welcome. I'd like to get to these questions just because got some good topics here. Got some really good topics, guys. Oh, here we go. So, hey, Adam, remember a couple of months ago, I told you diesel was going to hit $4 a gallon, and you like, nope, it's coming. This new administration has really screwed this up. Now, I don't know who is the one who messed up what. It could be the administration. It could be the green. Everyone's going green. Everyone's really after green right now. But yeah, I mean, diesel's up. I mean, that it's really in high demand right now. Yeah, it's close to $4 as you mentioned, and we're hoping hopefully it'll come back down. If you guys are getting, I don't know if it's the spot market that's wanting to, the low boards and all these brokers wanting to pay you more for your fuel. I really don't understand the fuel surcharge. It really doesn't add up. It's a percentage of the fuel, which doesn't really make sense to me. It should just be just a fuel surcharge of what the actual fuel cost you, not some percentage that the brokers make up. So what's up, Cassius King Trucking? How you guys doing? Thank you for joining us. What's up, Gerald? Good to go. Yeah, I'm jumping back on the earlier comments because I don't want to miss you guys what you had mentioned earlier. Have you seen the Diesel Laptop Classics? Do you think this is worth it? Now, I don't really like third-party software, guys. I've mentioned this to you before. I've used third-party softwares before. Third-party softwares are not the manufacturer's software, okay? So if you're dealing with Volvo, you're going to deal with PTT, Premium Tech Tool. If you're dealing with Detroit, you're going to be dealing with Diagnostic Link. And if you're going to be dealing with Cummins, you're going to be dealing with I'm sorry, I'm just looking at these comments coming through, but Cummins is Insight. Now, what I would like to share with you guys, if you do get a dealer software, another thing, I want to kind of go back to this diesel laptop people. They're going to sell you the world, but there's going to be zero support behind it. So if you have any issues, there's not going to be able to answer all these calls. So keep this in mind. Now, if you do buy a manufacturer software, make sure that you're looking at the requirements for the PC. It's going to be under system requirements, okay? Now, system requirements are going to be what the actual computer needs to be spec'd out at, or at the minimum specs. So you're going to have to be looking at the processor speed. You're going to have to be looking at memory. You're going to have to make sure that you have USB cables, mostly 2.0 or above. Because what you don't want to do, and especially with Premium Tech Tool, is if you don't have your computer meeting the minimum requirements for the system, then you're going to have a really slow computer. Because trust me, we have top-of-the-line laptops with very fast processors, big, solid state memory, so that you're not running around, or a disk memory, and you still have a little bit of lag in the computer, just because that program is so large that it's going to be reading all these different parameters, downloading, communicating with the truck. The USB link is needed as well to communicate with the truck. So this setup, El Rio, if you're Eli, I'm sorry, I had a guy in the shop, El Rio. So Eli, if you're looking to get into repair, I would suggest buying you a good laptop, not something that's already preloaded, and then go ahead and buy your manufacturer software separately. And that's a license that you're gonna have to pay every year. You're gonna have access to a lot of support, and you're gonna be able to be able to work on what you need to. Oscar says hi, hey, how you doing? Make sure to, if you guys want your comment highlighted, hit me up on Super Chat. I know it's 7 p.m. on a Sunday. I hope you guys are doing well. I wanted to go ahead and go live in the evening because I figured you guys are home already, probably laying down on the couch. Hope you guys are watching. Hope you guys are enjoying. We're gonna keep sharing some more information. Go over these comments, see what else we got here. GS says, thank you for your channel and helping us out with your knowledge. I would be financially broke or out of business without your DD13, DD15 mechanical experience. GS, I really appreciate that comment. I really appreciate that. I'm glad to help. We've already moved into our new building. So the move is out of the way. I'm still working with the closing, which is, dealing with the lenders and closing, with the title company. If you guys ever had to deal with any closing, it's a lot of people involved. It's not really complicated, but when you have multiple parties involved, it gets drug out longer than it needs to. So when that happens, it's just a little bit exhausting because I can't focus my energy on what I want to focus on. I got to focus on chasing documents down and sending them over. But we're getting there. I shot a few videos today, and I want to go live more often. I got the studio cleaned up. So we're in here in the studio. If you hear a little bit of background noise, it's probably the fans rolling because, this hot weather, guys, is very hot out there. Texas, Texas is hot, guys. We've already seen it. It may be 99 to 100, and it feels maybe 5 to 10 degrees higher than that. I know you guys are probably seeing higher temperatures out there in New Mexico and Arizona. Hey, but Texas is hot, man. And what I would like to mention to you guys is stay hydrated. Make sure you're drinking water. Try to drink a gallon a day. I know it's tough. I'm about to bust my half a gallon out right here and take a sip. That coffee's got my mouth dry. But make sure we're staying hydrated, guys. Because dehydration is not a joke. Dehydration will really put you down. So back to the comments, guys. I appreciate Ray letting me know that our audio is good. I'm missing my sticker on my speaker or on my on my mic holder here. I had a logo here, but it fell off when I shot the other day. Okay, so moving on next. Thank you for that comment again. Harold says, "Hey, how you doing, Mr. Adam?" I appreciate that. It is a numbers game. I had another comment here saying it's a numbers game. Now, if I would like to recommend you guys a book. If you guys don't read books, if you don't like to read, then get on Audible. It's just basically audio books. Now, Profit First is a really good book. It's kind of like it's like a breakdown of just basically how to work your finances. It's not like this big publisher that wrote it. It's kind of like a small author, but it's a really good book. I would suggest anybody that's in charge of finance to read that book, listen to that book, and I feel like that's going to help you guys. So if you are in the trucking and you want to learn the numbers game with and this book can be used across any business, really, trucking, any kind of repair business or any business that you're running, guys. If you got an extra business on the side, it's a good book to read. Something I would suggest. It's starting with a 2015 International Cummins 400 with 400K. A dumb idea. I see them out there, but keep getting told Internationals is garbage. Now, I wouldn't say International is garbage. International is very challenging to work on, especially with with after treatment. I'm sorry, I wouldn't say after treatment problems. I didn't mean to say that. I'll just mention that because I do have after treatment problem in the shop. But basically with electrical problems, I don't know, when they start having electrical problems on the international, man, it's just not fun. Internationals really look nice though. They really look nice. I would stay away from anything that's a max force. We actually just recently stopped accepting max forces just because of the parts. We can't get a hold of parts. Parts are becoming a little bit of a strain across the board. So guys, if you are in the industry, just keep an eye on that. We got repairs in the shop that we're waiting on parts now. There's delays that are happening, and it's just all across the board. 2015, I'm not a big fan. I know on the Cummins, I would suggest a 2016, 2017. I know that at the 2015 mark, those are kind of like they were still working out problems. I mentioned this to you guys before. When you have new platforms that are released by any manufacturer, whether it's Detroit, Cummins, Volvo, PACCAR, if you have any new platform release, it usually takes a few years. I would say about 5 years till they figure out what's going on with that truck, what needs to be updated. For example, I got a Detroit in the shop with a failed piston pin, and a piston pin broke in half, man. I mean, it broke in half, and it cracked the liner. Coolant just pretty much overfilled the oil, and we were shocked, but we originally thought it was just a O-ring liner that failed. But our further investigation found a cracked liner. I mean, cracked all the way from the top to the bottom because of the piston pin broke in half. And I got a video that I did on this. I'm going to be releasing this. If you want to look at the photos that I released on my community page, you'll see the picture of that piston pin broke in half. Now, what I'm getting at is we couldn't figure out what the failure was. How did it happen? Not what it was, but how it happened. We always want to find the root cause of a failure just because we don't want to turn around and put a new piston and rebuild this whole engine, and here we have another failure. We don't want that to happen. So the only thing that we found is a bulletin from Detroit basically saying that there's a material defect on the pin, and they updated it back in March of 2014. Now, that truck, DD15 was released 2009. So look how many years that took. 5 years to figure it out. They came up with the Gen 2 pumps, with the fuel pumps, and the fuel modulator, or fuel modulators are now 2-filter fuel modulators. These are a lot of updates that they're doing, and I'm just giving you an example on the DD15. Now, Cummins, they updated their fuel pump. They updated a few other items that were giving them problems. I still see failures that are happening with these engines that shouldn't be, with heads and a piston pin breaking in half. Who would expect that at 500K? Nobody would have expected that. Very, very crazy. So yeah, it is a numbers game. And Alpha Planet beat me up if I'm not pronouncing that right. But Planet, if you're looking at that truck, look at what it's going for compared to other trucks like a DD15 or a Cummins X15 or Volvo. If the gap is super wide, Planet, then more than likely you're going to spend money on that truck to get it road ready. The information you're sharing is very limited. The year model, the model of the truck, and the model of the engine, that's very limited on how much. I appreciate that. I appreciate that super chat. I'm going to buy me a coffee tomorrow morning with that. I appreciate that. So, and it's Planet. I appreciate that, Planet. So basically what I'm getting at is if that truck is below market value when it comes to what it's selling for, you really got to dig into it. You really got to look into that truck to ensure that everything is ready. 400K, it's really tough to beat that truck up at 400K. So if that truck is still on the lot for sale and it's the only one there and it has 400K, you might want to look into that. It could have been a fleet truck. I mentioned this to you guys before. Fleet trucks like to trade their trucks in for new trucks and not do any maintenance or prolong their maintenance so they can save money. And what they do is when they turn these trucks into the dealers, whoever they are, they go on for sale with no maintenance at 400K. At 400K for a Cummins, most of your maintenance is due. Your valve adjustments, your DPF filters are going to need to be replaced. Your DEF filter is going to be replaced. You're going to have soot cleanings. That's not going to be on your intervals, but I recommend soot cleanings because if you're going to have a DPF filter that needs to be replaced due to soot, more than likely you're going to need EGR cleaning. You're going to have differential pressure cleaning and differential EGR pressure cleaning. Intake pressure cleaning is basically just pulling these sensors and making sure they're not excessively built up with soot. Because if they're excessively built up with soot, they're sending wrong signals to the ECM. You're not fueling correctly. The turbo is not turning off and on correctly. You're creating extra soot. You're burning more fuel. And the engine's just going to cost you more problems. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that $5 super chat. Guys, if you want your question highlighted, make sure to hit me up on super chat. I would appreciate that. Appreciate the support on the channel. Gerald says, and I mentioned this comment earlier when I was talking about joining a new fleet if you guys want to join the trucking industry. He says Walmart's paying $1,500. They should pay. Walmart should pay when you sign up, like the first 2 weeks. I don't know why they're waiting 90 days. That's a long time. But either way, they're paying money. I know a lot of fleets are paying money for you to come drive with them. Edward West, what's up? What's up? How you doing? Lubbock, Texas. Watching from Lubbock, Texas. Shout out to Francisco. He's talking about Francisco Rocha, which works. He's the manager at our location in Dallas. He's not talking about Francisco Maya. TAT, best customer service. I appreciate that. Appreciate that, Edward. We work hard to try to keep everybody satisfied. There are customers that some guys we cannot keep satisfied. So if we do see a complaint, usually I try to dig into that to figure out what happened. Most of the time it's a communication issue. So we really kind of go back and we talk about where the communication broke down, where that happened, where the issue happened, and we try to address it so you guys don't have to deal with, we don't like to keep anybody unsatisfied. We're very transparent about our service. If you come in and if you get anything done, say for example you come in and get an oil change or you get a DAG done, we let you know, hey, this diagnosis is going to cost you this much. We're going to give you a courtesy inspection. Once you approve that, we get moving. We're not going to just repair your truck. Now, if you approve a repair and we have a difference there's always going to be a difference because, until you break the truck down and start pulling parts off, oh, I can't reuse this. You don't want to reassemble the truck with questionable parts, used parts, because you got to understand if that truck fails, if that part fails, whether we thought it was good or not, we're going to get blamed for it. And we rightfully so, we should be, since we're the last ones to touch it. But we don't want that happening. We want that truck being on the road ready. So there may be some changes after a repair is approved, but that's just normal. That's normal. Singh gave me $50 or $5. I'm sorry, I almost said $50. I saw all those zeros, so I thought it was 50. But $5 super chat says, I can't tell what's reliable trucks anymore. I'm looking to change to a 2016 Freightliner. What do you recommend? Now, a 2016 is a good truck, depending on the miles. Very limited information. Now, if the truck has been maintained well and it's got a solid maintenance record, a lot of the components are going to meet, like the replaceable components that I'm talking about are DPF filters. I don't suggest that that these fuel pumps that are high pressure fuel pumps are being ran at high intervals when that comes to filter changes. This is across the board. I would not recommend doing 30,000 on a fuel filter. Whether you got oil samples going and your viscosity is great and you don't have any issues with your oil and you want to push your oil filters 30,000 past 50,000, and you think your fuel filter is going to do it, I do not suggest that. So, Singh, if you have a truck that's been ran, for example, with 30,000 miles or for longer on these fuel filters, you may have an issue with the fuel pump. I see fuel pumps fail all the time. These high-pressure pumps are delicate. They use fuel to lubricate the high side of it. All the internals are lubricated by diesel. They don't have oil going into them to lubricate the internals. Everything is lubricated by diesel fuel. And the viscosity in diesel is just in different areas. It's all across the board. Depends on where you get your fuel. If you now with this heat, sometimes you get condensation in your fuel. So this water condensation, the water that's in the fuel, just tears these pumps up. So I appreciate that super chat saying, if I would definitely suggest, if you cannot find a reliable truck, Usually when we get trucks coming in, usually when I get trucks coming in and we have a complaint, a lot of our standard operating procedure is checking maintenance. What maintenance has been done, what maintenance hasn't been done, what repairs have been done. All this information really helps us. What we don't like is when customers either did a repair and don't want to tell us, or they don't want to share information about what was going on with their truck beforehand. It may be not intentional because you guys aren't mechanics, so you don't really know what's going on. I had a customer come in with a grinding issue, and I think I brought this up before, but he had a grinding issue, and very bad grinding issue. Long story short, he had some leaf springs replaced on a Peterbilt, older Peterbilt, and the leaf springs is odd. Like they're curved, so the leaf springs have to be put at a certain, like the bent or the curved leaf spring needs to go on the rear axle, and the flat leaf spring needs to go on the front axle. And if you mix them, what it did is it angled his axle up like this. So when you angle the axle up like that, the differential's pointing up, the drive shaft's coming in at an angle, and it's just grinding. Now, we were just beating our heads up against the wall trying to figure it out, and finally he mentioned to us that he had suspension work. So we saw that, we looked at that, and so guys, if you're taking your truck to a shop, make sure you're sharing as much information as possible. It helps us out. DIY Semi says, "What's up?" I appreciate you joining us today. DIY Semi, you've been a viewer since the beginning. I remember when we were first doing our lives, and seeing you on our chats. So I appreciate you still joining us. Hopefully our information is still informative for you. Appreciate this super chat. Just hit us up with a super chat. If you have a question, make sure to ask there. I don't want to mispronounce that. I'm from the South. My English is not that great. Yegor, I don't even know how to pronounce that, but I appreciate that super chat. If you got a question, make sure. Let me see if I can find your question. I'm trying to stay in order. There's so many comments coming in. I really appreciate everybody that's joined us. David Dallas says, and David, you were the first comment. He was the first comment on the stream today, and he says he sees $4. He sees $4 coming in the horizon very soon. I hope not. I really hope not. We have too much oil in the United States to not be self-sufficient. I know they shut down a lot of the oil production in the United States with this new they're really going green, and we all want to kind of save. We all want to save the planet, but it's when it comes to what I don't understand when we talk about green. And I'm gonna get to this super chat, $9.99. That's the biggest super chat that I've had today. I appreciate that. I'm gonna get on that just in a second. Let me wrap up this comment. David, what I don't understand about this green is I read a couple things about it's called Bloomberg Green, and it talked about how some companies, and I mentioned this before, some companies that actually produce carbon are able to pay carbon tax to still produce carbon, and I know I'm taking a different route with the green, but I know I mentioned green. But what I just don't understand is that they're letting these companies pay to still pollute, which doesn't make sense to me. Okay, Low Key, thanks for the $10. Let me get to your question. I have a 2021 Freightliner, got it from the dealer with 8 miles on it. That's very low mileage. I have 28K on it now, and my front diff keeps hitting 248. Okay. Dealer says that's high, but I can't get Daimler to warranty. Is it normal? Now, I would like to know what is it the Detroit driveline? Because I know Detroit's going with all new driveline. Daimler's making their own driveline. So is it Detroit? What I would recommend is if you can get your hands on some manuals, or usually what we do when we have a truck come in and we need to look up information on the differential, we look up the model number. We look up, of course, the model number, the make, and you're able to get information for operating temperatures and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be able to answer exactly that differential running at. Let me see if I can find something real quick. I mean, if they're admitting that that's high, yeah, that's high. Yeah, that's high. Yeah. Yeah, if you're towing, I mean, if you are towing, I mean, you're hauling freight. You're hauling freight, and you're right at 248. You're just above what normal is. Probably about 15 degrees above, 18 degrees to be exact, about what normal is. What you can do, low key, to verify that it is a complaint. I've had somebody. This is a brand new truck. I mean, so you shouldn't have any issues. You shouldn't have any issues. But what you can do is, this is what I would suggest you do, low key. Go ahead and replace that temp sensor. Okay. Drain that oil and replace it. Make sure you're putting the right oil in there. I had a customer had service done on his transmission for a Detroit transmission, DT12. Went to another shop. They put the wrong weight oil transmission, wrong oil transmission in there, and it messed up his transmission. Cost him a lot of money. So when you drain this oil, go ahead and do an oil sample. If you don't have an oil sample analysis lab, if you don't have one, you can find one online very easily. A lot of these labs are going to be kind of like in Houston, where they produce oil, or they're going to be in Colorado. What they'll do is they'll mail you bottles, and then what you do is just drain you a little bit of oil in one of those bottles and send it out to him. Send it out to the company that you set up with. You're going to set up your online portal, whatnot, and check out to see if you have any irregulars in that oil. And put new oil in there with a new temp sensor and see what it does. See if it is actually going over temp. If it is going over temp, check your drive line and check your drive line to make sure it's straight. Make sure your airbags are keeping your drive line straight. As I mentioned, that axle that's bent up, airbags would do that too. If your airbags are too low, it'll bend your axle up. If you've ever driven a truck with your airbags completely dumped, you know what I'm talking about. It'll grind. So make sure your drive line is straight. Make sure, as I mentioned, do the oil sample, change your oil temp sensor, make sure it's not a faulty temp sensor. Now, another thing that you can do is verify that the breather, it's a newer truck, so it's probably just going to have a breather hose. Make sure that breather hose is not binded or crimped and not allowing it to actually breathe. And make sure it's not overfull. Overfilling will cause that as well. So I hope I was able to help you low key. So check those things out. You can follow back up with me at info@tatexpressinc.com. Guys, I know a lot of you guys maybe be calling, may call with questions, and we do our best to answer them. But it's tough for us to call shots over the phone. So if you got like a major issue, or if you got an issue that you need to bring it into a shop, or if you have a check engine light, don't prolong it. Get it checked out. There's not much we can do over the phone, but I do appreciate everybody reaching out to us. Low-key hit me up again for $4.99. Yes, DD15, DT12, speed, everything is Detroit. Okay, if it is Detroit, then what I would recommend, changing the sensor, doing the oil analysis, checking the drive line, make sure it's straight, and put in new oil in it, and make sure don't overfill it, and your breather. Make sure your breather is not binded, because the breather is going to allow that pressure to relieve. And you can see if you have like excessive oil, if you have excessive oil kind of coming out of your breather, then that's going to cause you some problems too. So let me see if I can find something specifically. But if it's Detroit's manufacturing, a differential is a differential. It shouldn't run at a higher temperature just because it's another manufacturer. Detroit should warranty that. Driveline, check your warranty paperwork. Your driveline should be under warranty. What they're probably doing is waiting for it to burn up, or waiting for it to actually break down on you. Then they're going to be able to warranty for you. That's probably what they're waiting on, because everyone's so backed up with work right now. Every shop is backed up with work. I mean, the dealers are backed up with work. Every small repair shop is backed up with work. Running Ace, what's happening? I was kind of mixing your question with someone else's question, but hey, how you doing? It's great. I'm doing great. As I mentioned, we're in our new building, so 4140 Langdon Road. Make sure you're not going to our old location. We're not at that location no more. It's abandoned. There's somebody that's probably going to open up a shop there that's not us, so don't go there, guys. So low key, I'm going back to low key. I didn't mean to jump to the next question, but low key, I hope I was able to help you with that. That's really, that's really, that really sucks, low key, that you have such a new truck, and it happens. We service a fleet with FedEx Ground. With FedEx Ground, there's nothing but owner operators there. So we service a fleet. They have probably about 15, 20 new trucks, brand new trucks, just like you. Very low mileage. What we usually do is their PMs. Preventive maintenance is what that is. If you guys don't know what a PM is, mostly oil changes. What we come across a lot is those oil pans, the bolts, the oil pan drain plug just gets stripped out, and it's warranted by Detroit. Most of the time, Detroit will come to our shop and just replace the oil pan there at our location with a mobile mechanic. So JP says, what's your opinion about an OTR performance reset tool? JP, now, what I don't like about OTR, all they're doing is just resetting it. They're not fixing the problem. So if you have a Volvo, mostly what that's used for is a Volvo with a clogged filter or an after treatment system that's not working correctly, and you have a check engine light that derates you. An OTR performance reset tool, all that's going to do is just reset the computer so that you can continue to drive the truck. Now, continuing to drive the truck with a clogged up filter or something that's not working correctly is going to cause either excessive back pressure, and you're going to cause a failed turbo, which in the long run is really just going to cost you more on a repair. So that's my opinion with OTR performance reset tool, JP. I appreciate your comment. Tex Garcia, he corrected me earlier when I said market freight or market rate or whatever I said. Basically, it's spot market, and when we talked about freight. And that's the overflow of freight that the main carriers cannot take over. So a lot of you owner operators that are using load boards, you know what we're talking about. Running A says, "Hey Tat, how hard a time you have in getting basic parts like NOx?" Now, thankfully, we have some very strong vendors that work very hard. Shout out to all my vendors out there. Premier Truck Group is a large vendor of ours, and they do a lot to try to get us parts on time. And yeah, Running Ace, you're gonna see parts shortage in a lot of areas. Manufacturing shut down back when the pandemic happened. I know people don't like talking about the pandemic, but it's real. It happened. I look at news across seas, overseas, where the pandemic originally started, and they're back at it again. They're back at shutdowns. UK, China's already shutting cities down where they're not allowing you to go into a certain city. So, for example, Dallas couldn't go into Mesquite, or Mesquite couldn't go into Garland. Different counties, they're shutting counties down. They're just kind of isolating the counties that are having the most infections and not letting them cross. They're forced vaccination there. They're doing forced testing. Now, they consider China more of a communist country, so we don't see that here in the United States. UK as well is seeing pretty 40,000 cases a day. These are big numbers, guys. Large numbers that are going to eventually hit the States. They're eventually going to hit the United States. What I've noticed is what's happening overseas where it originated at, it kind of works its way over here, and usually when it hits the United States, it hits harder than it's hitting in those other countries. So kids are going back to school. My kid's going back to school, and it's odd because, they're saying they're going to take precautions, but it's such a political issue now that, people either don't believe it or they do believe it. And, honestly, in my opinion, I know if you're coming to our shop, we're probably not going to be wearing masks because our mechanics are really isolated. They're not really talking to too many people and close to many people. And being in a shop, it's hot, so it's really tough to wear a mask all day in a shop. So drivers are really isolated. I appreciate that $19 super chat. I'm going to get to you here, Jimmy. I really appreciate that. Got a $19.99 super chat. He says, "Hey, buddy, what is the best oil to put on a D13 2017 Freightliner?" So, I guess you were saying DD13. Now, I got beat up the other day when I was saying 10W30 or I'm sorry, 1540. As long as it's CK4 and above, it's a good oil, okay? It's a good oil as CK4 and above. Now, they're going with 10W30. 10W30 is a lighter viscosity. Now, it's not a bad idea to run lighter viscosities. I would still run an oil analysis. So if you run 1030, it's going to be more pricey. Still run the oil analysis to see if you can go that extended interval. You know, they're claiming 50,000 miles on 10W30 at the CK4. Now, CK4 is given better fuel mileage because it's a lighter oil. The lighter oil is not going to cause as much friction against the crank while it's splashing around. All that oil splashing around that crank. This lighter oil is actually going to help reduce the drag in the crank and give you better fuel mileage. And it's a little bit there. I want to say it's about if you go above 10%, that's good. So so basically, what I would suggest, Jimmy, is you could run 10W30 CK4 or 1540 CK4. Any of those two oils would work for you. 10W30, if you're going the long interval at 50, do an oil analysis. Usually I recommend 20K on your oil just because if you're not doing an oil analysis and you're doing a lot of idling, you're going to collect a lot of soot in that oil. And even though you have a lot of additives in the oil and the lubrication is there, it's possible this built up soot is going to cause you to just have more problems down the road. So I appreciate that question, Jimmy. Honestly, what I would definitely do is run an oil analysis if you're going to go long extended intervals. And if you're saying it's a Freightliner, you said D13, so I originally thought you were talking about a Volvo, but I'm pretty sure you're talking about a DD13. So since it's in a Freightliner, so you can run any one of those oils. You can run any. You can run. We put at our shop 1540 just because it's a CK4 and it's priced better than a 10W30. A 10W30, it's going to be a lighter oil. They're claiming better fuel efficiency, and I have seen some drivers make comments about getting better fuel mileage on the 10W30 CK4. It's going to be a higher oil. Usually, it's going to be like I want to say it's a T6. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's probably a T6. But that's a good question. That's definitely a good question. I appreciate you. Now, Jimmy, another thing I would like to mention to you, if you're going to be running this, say, for example, you run 10W30 and you want to go long intervals with an oil analysis, don't go 30-40 on those oil filters, okay? Do not go on that long on your fuel filters because those filters are just not designed to go that long, and you're really risking that pump failing. I can't believe we're already past an hour. I was only going to go for an hour today, but you guys just kind of keep me going with all these questions, and it's really exciting. So let me see here. I got another. Okay, JP just threw $4.99, and I don't see his question, but I think he's got a question here he sent earlier. Okay, JP says, let me find that question. A lot of comments. Thanks for taking my question, Adam. I'm looking to buy a 2017 Volvo 780 with 400K. What should I look for maintenance? At your 400K mark for a Volvo, you're gonna it's kind of be the same across the board. At 400K, you're gonna have DPF filters that are gonna need to be replaced. DEF filters gonna need to be replaced at 150. So if that hasn't been done, definitely needs to be done. Guys, get your dryers replaced. Your dryer filters replaced. If you haven't had your dryer filter replaced in over a few years, more than likely you're gonna have to replace the entire dryer just because it's seized. The filter's seized on there. So don't get upset with your mechanic if they can't get that filter off and they tell you have to replace the whole dryer assembly. The reason why I'm pushing dryers so much is because with the Volvo, they're still using air over fuel for the dosing. So a lot of times if you have moisture in your air system because of a prolonged dryer filter that hasn't been replaced, that moisture is going to just make the dosing for the fuel just crap out. Now, most of the time at 150, you're going to have to just replace it. You're going to have to replace 7th injector, DEF filter, and the dozer. Those three items usually are replaced at 150 just to avoid downtime. Okay? your EGR cleaning is recommended. It's not going to be seen on a interval online, but if you have a DPF filter that's clogged up with soot, and this DPF filter is going to be more downstream. So everything that's more upstream, that's closer to the engine, a EGR cooler, all your sensors, your EGR differential pressure sensor, your intake pressure sensor, all these sensors are a lot closer than the DPF filters. So if the DPF filters happen to be replaced because of soot, imagine what your EGR cooler is looking like. DEF, differential EGR differential pressure sensor, or intake pressure sensor. When these sensors are clogged up, they're sending incorrect readings to the ECM. So those are the items you need to be looking for, JP. Look for the maintenance records. If there's no maintenance record at 400K, if we calculate, let's calculate how many oil changes that should be. If they're doing them regularly at 400K, say they do it at 20,000 miles, that should be 20 oil changes on record. More than likely, they're going to have repairs. Definitely had some repairs. Possibly if they had a DPF filter replaced, that would be good. If not, all these items that I just mentioned to you are going to be items that you're going to have to be looking for if you purchase that truck. So I hope that information helps you. I see another super chat on my, okay, here it is. It's odd. I saw a super chat on my phone, but I didn't see it on my monitor. So, JP, I hope that answers your question. I appreciate that super chat. Check out how to buy a used truck. One of my other videos, I really kind of go in depth on used trucks. I really recommend you take it to an outside shop that has experience with Volvos. I know that's not as easy to find, but look for them. Call around shops. Ask them, hey, do you have Premium Tech Tool software to troubleshoot or do a park regen to look at parameters on my Volvo. Those are the items that I suggest. The reason why is because you're going to be dealing with multiple people when buying a truck. You're going to be probably dealing with 5 people at a time, 5 different people, probably the salesman, the dealer, the financer, the repair shop, and of course an outside repair shop. Most of the time, they're not going to take their time. They're not going to look at that truck. They want to get that truck off their lot and sold. Most of the mechanics are backed up in the shop working on other items. So looking over a truck that's going to be sold. I mean, a lot of guys bring trucks to my shop saying that they were road ready, and we find a list of items. Super Chat is on fire today. I appreciate everybody's support. I appreciate everybody's comments and everybody's. I'm going to get more content out to you guys. I've shot 3 different videos today. We got a Detroit video that's coming out. We got that piston pin failure video, what's in the shop, and we got a liner video on an X15. So pretty excited about getting those videos out to you guys. We got a $10 super chat here from. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to skip over. I don't want to mispronounce this name. It's YEGOR. You guys are gonna beat my English up. I saw a comment the other day about me saying Cummins. And they were beating us up, man. They were beating, there's no G in it. Hey, you know what? It's my accent. It's my southern accent, man. I'm from the country, man. I grew up here in Texas. I didn't grow up in the city. I grew up in the city for a little bit, and then I moved out to the country on four-wheelers, dirt bikes, and just out in the fields working on stuff. So here we go. He's got a question here. It says, did you ever work on a Volvo D16s? I got a 2010 with 430. Do they have the same common problems as a D13? I do oil and fuel filter change every 12K. So you could probably do fuel filters at 12K and go 20K on your oil. So you can probably get another 8K out of your oil. But yes, you're going to run into the same problems. It's the same platform. It's just larger. We do work on D16s. And, I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same engine. Just like the MP8. It's the Mac engine. It's the same engine. As a D13, it's just larger. It's a 16 cylinder, or I'm sorry, 16 cylinder. It's a 16 liter. D13 is a 13 liter. So the displacement is larger. So everything's the same. I'm just gonna use larger tools. The rocker assembly is a lot larger. Everything is just larger. It's a good engine though. It's a really strong engine. We don't see very much of D16s around. Most of them down here are D13s. But I appreciate that question. It's very strong engine. That's a very very strong D16. Very strong. So 2010, I don't see the D16s very often. So a 2010 at 430K, that's low mileage. That's really low mileage. That's like that truck is 11 years old and only has. It's 11 years old and only has 400K on it. That means it's 11 years old. That means they only drove that truck. A car was driven more often than that truck. Cars, 20,000, 30,000 a year. Trucks are supposed to be usually average around 100K. They don't supposed to. If you're able to get, if you want to work less, you can work less. But average 100K a year. So that truck only ran 40,000 miles a year. So it hasn't been ran much. So you found a truck, if it's in good shape, good maintenance, that truck should hit $1 million. You should have a good truck, very strong, powerful truck there. Okay, we got a $10 super chat. I appreciate that. Appreciate this $10 super chat. DD13, normal oil pressure. Mine runs 15 PSI. When hot, stays at 20 at idle. Thanks. Been like since I got it at 300K miles ago. No issues, no running no issues running strong. Thanks. Change oil at 15K. Okay, so 15K, 20K is good for oil change. If we said 15K in our other videos, 15, 20K is it's the same. It's the same. As long as you're running CK4 oil, you should be good. Okay, 15 PSI is normal. And then, the way you can remember if a DD15, usually DD15 is going to have 15 PSI at idle. Okay, that's normal. Now, what year is a truck? If you haven't had the oil rings done, you may have to get those done. It's not going to improve the pressure. If you do have low oil pressure, you do have a safety on the truck that's going to shut the truck down if you have low oil pressure. So if you're not getting an alarm, you're good. If you're worried about it, do an oil analysis. Okay? Oil analysis is like checking the blood of your truck. Guys, if you're already at the age where blood work is pretty normal or once a year and you monitor your blood, it's the same thing as a truck. Oil analysis is the same as running your blood in a human. You're going to see excessive wear in metals. If you see metals, DD15s usually will see like aluminum from the rocker box. If you see any kind of metals, you want to get that checked out. Fuel is a big thing. A lot of guys are having fuel in their oil and they don't even know it. And you're not gonna really know you have an issue until it's just done. Your bearings are probably already wore out from running years and years with diesel in the fuel. So diesel's a big contaminant that people do not see. Okay, so oil analysis can help you see diesel that may be there that you don't know. Also viscosity is checking to make sure that there's enough lubrication in the oil to keep the engine safe. So I appreciate that question. That is normal oil pressure there. But I appreciate that super chat. We're going to move back to the regular comments. But if you guys you want to highlight your comment or highlight your question, make sure to hit us up on super chat. I'm about to wrap this up here shortly. Very, very exciting show today. I'm more excited just with the audience, everybody that's on chat, everybody that's just constantly pumping these comments out, and we're doing my best to get to you guys. David Dallas, fuel prices have zero to do with any president. You know nothing about oil business. The president, just a pawn. Okay, Damon. I'm the same way. I'm not sure why our oil is high right now. We have a lot of what I kind of feel like is with Texas freeze that happened and shut down production, and we have just different changes that happen, and I see guys leaving the oil industry. I see a lot of guys leaving the oil industry. I don't know if it's changed in the past few months, but I have a buddy of mine. He used to actually drive when I had trucks. He used to drive for us. And the only reason why I got rid of trucks, I used to love having trucks. I hated to get rid of trucks. The only reason why I got rid of it is just because I wanted to focus on the shop. trucks is basically running another company. So it's like having two companies, and it was just too much. But shout out to Sandro if he's watching the show. I know he asked me, he was actually wanting to leave the oil field just because it was getting kind of tough out there. So he says it was a DD13 2014 with 680,000 miles. Okay. You may want to do these oil rings if your oil level goes any lower. Do your own oil analysis. Do your oil analysis first. In the morning, let that oil warm up before you rev it up. Just let it warm up. Let that oil work its way up to the top. Since you're working with low oil pressure and a aluminum rocker box, then you're going to want to ensure that oil is making it up to the rocker box. He says ExxonMobil is on strike. That's interesting information. I haven't seen that. It's probably not on major media. Media is going to be talking about other items, so that would make sense. ExxonMobil on strike. That's probably causing some and just the perfect storm happened. The perfect storm happened with the pandemic. With now everybody getting back on the road. Everybody's just traveling. School was about to start, so everybody just pumped out vacations. Pumped out a vacation before they know it, or try to squeeze out a vacation before they get back to school, and that's just put a big strain on fuel. Trucks are moving. The demand is there. The demand is high. So I don't know if the stock is not there, but I didn't see any changes besides the pipeline, which wasn't really supplying us with oil when we had low oil prices in the first place. So I'm not sure what did it. So I don't mean to I know he was saying, guys, be nice on the comments. You don't have to say you don't know anything about nothing. You don't have to say that. You could just say, hey, you may consider, or consider other items. It's not the president. So, but because I'm ignorant to the fact too. I'm not in oil production, but I do like to try to keep information up on information, and I do know that they're attacking big oil, man. Everybody's attacking big oil, man. And I saw an article the other day. About Detroit's e-truck and their electronic trucks, and basically what I saw is that they are trying to recruit fleets to buy into their e-trucks, and basically you're having to pay for a representative to come out and see what your setup is so that they can set your charging stations up. So you're not just buying the truck, you're buying a representative, you're buying the charging station. So I really see that's being a really, really big expense, and I don't see how that's going to fix our carbon issue, because if we go electric, the carbon is still going to be emitted through the electric companies, through the factories that actually produce electricity by whatever sources that they use, coal, whatever. There's probably not even coal plants. They're probably way off on that, but the carbon's still going to come out somewhere because the power is going to need to be produced. Now, and I mentioned this as well. Look how long it takes you to refuel refuel at a fuel stop. Imagine what it's going to do with electric trucks. I really feel like we have a long road ahead of us. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I just see a long road ahead of us. They're having problems finishing combustible engines now because of the chip shortage, semiconductor shortage. But I feel like that's going to change once Intel has their factory up in Arizona and producing in the next year or so. And parts are going to be back online, and I feel like we're just going to go back to a normality, but I still feel like there's a big challenge when it comes to e-trucks. But we got Adam. What does an oil analysis tell you? Thanks. I just mentioned what oil analysis tell you is going to help you. The blood work is basically the blood work of your truck. Is going to be seeing if you have any contaminants, fuel, metals. And make sure that your oil is actually still lubricating enough for your engine. And if you find a good oil analysis company, a lot of these labs are really good. They're going to give you all this information. It's going to tell you everything that's within specs, and they're going to let you know what's out of specs. Hey, you got too much of this in your oil. Hey, you got too much of that. really helpful, really helpful. So they're gonna be able to walk you through what they see in your oil once that happens. So Damian Harvey, I appreciate you sharing that. Sharing your comment there. Oil filters are your best friend, especially if you can get from the oil drain plug. So magnets on oil filters are your best friend. If you have, if you have oil metal in your oil, yeah, magnets are gonna attract that. Well, a lot of the metal in there is not really magnetic oil, so if there's some metal in there, there's some copper in there, there's tin, there's aluminum. If we're talking about DD13s, but the magnet usually will collect any extra metals in there. And an oil analysis is gonna, if you ever see metal so grinded down that it becomes metallic, we see that in oil sometimes. I don't know if you saw it in one of my videos, but I remember a video that we did. There was metallic. You can see it's kind of like a sparkling metallic. You're not going to be able to grab that with a magnet. David, your tips are, great. I appreciate you sharing your information. But what I'm just kind of adding on into addition to your information is when that metal gets grinded down like that and it becomes like metallic, the oil becomes like sparkle, like a sparkling glitter in the oil. That's metallic. That's you're not going to see, the magnet's not going to pick that up. So that's kind of why I suggest oil analysis, because your eye can only pick up so much. Even when you have coolant in your oil, unless you're running it for a long period of time where it mixes so much where it gets milky, you're not going to see it. If it's a light amount of coolant in your oil, you're not going to see it. There's just so much oil in there that it takes a lot of coolant contamination so that you can see it with your eye. But it takes less to cause damage to an engine. So let's just go ahead and do oil analysis. It's not like you can prick your blood and look at your blood and say, yeah, I got high cholesterol. You're not going to be able to see it. So even with fuel is a very common contaminant in oil that's not seen. You're not going to be able to find that until you do an oil analysis. So many comments coming in. Make sure you guys hit that like button. I only have 45 likes. Make sure to hit that like button and share the videos, share our information, share our channel. Make sure you guys are sharing our channel feed with anybody that's any of your buddies that may find this information useful. Make sure to share so we can get our following up. Gerald says everyone that takes COVID leave on unemployment is affecting our parts. They get more money on unemployment than they do working. Now, Gerald, I do agree with people not, I would say deserving unemployment. Okay, I understand some people are, scared about what's going on. Just take your precautions. Wear your mask if you're too close to people and you're around a bunch of people. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. And honestly, you're not going to get sick. Since this pandemic happened, I haven't got sick since this pandemic happened because everyone's just taking precautions, But now unemployment, yeah, it's affecting our economy. I don't know. I think they should be more strict with this unemployment. I think they should have people actually, if you're in an area, if you're in like an area that has a high, demand for workers, and you're capable of working, you can lift 20, 30 pounds, you can walk, you can talk, you can do what you're supposed to do, and you're, below, if you're under a certain age, you shouldn't get employment. You shouldn't get employment if it, I have a grandmother, that's not getting anything. She's in her 80s, and not getting anything for, barely $800 a month. I'm pretty sure some of you guys can relate if family members not getting enough. But here you go of a youngster, in his 30s, taking unemployment, or somebody even in their 40s that is healthy and can work and can actually get out here and work. No, I don't want to do that job. I want to get paid more money. I'd rather take. No, it's not right. It's not right. So I appreciate your And if you are watching and you're on unemployment, I'm not attacking you guys. I'm just letting you know that we got to rebuild America. We are going to be rebuilding America, but we can't be rebuilding it from home. If you are in tech or if you're able to work from home, that's fine. But if you're at home not doing nothing, just collecting unemployment and as if you're retired or something, you're only going to prolong a challenge for yourself in the future. So guys, there's a lot of opportunities out there, tons of opportunities. There's so many people hiring right now. Now, we just barely started hiring. Again, since we moved to our new location, we're trying to get more staffing in. Really, we just need a solid addition to our front counter and a solid addition to our back. We just need 2 people. But finding people, there's so many people out there, and there's so many people that apply. They'll do an interview, and then that's it. It's kind of like they just want to get the qualifications to stay on unemployment. I don't understand. So, Gerald, I appreciate that. I don't mean to rant on too much about that. Damien says, Texas is the South. Who told you different? People think Florida and Georgia, that's the real South. Louisiana, shout out to all the bayous out there. I was stationed in Biloxi. Actually, I was stationed in Biloxi, Mississippi for a year when I was in the Air Force. And we used to travel to Louisiana all the time, Mississippi, just travel all around that area. And I really fell in love with Cajun food. And I didn't really understand Cajun people. If you guys are from there, if you ever pass through Louisiana, I don't mean to get too much off the subject, but what I'm saying is they think they're the South only. That is the South where the Confederacy was. That's the only place they consider the South. Anything else is not. Texas, Texas is kind of like their own country, really. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but or a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing either, but somebody told me different one time. They just said Texas wasn't the South. I don't know why. Marcus says, how often should you change your coolant on the Detroit? Every 300 to 400K miles. And I know I'll go miles. If you guys want to track hours, you're not really supposed to be idling that much. So mostly miles is what we go by. What we do at our location is we use strips, and you can buy them on Amazon. Just make sure when you open up your cap for your coolant that it's not hot. But you can buy their Fleet Guard test strips that you dip into your coolant, and it has a color code on the back of the bottle, and you're able to put that strip there, and you can see what your levels are, and that's going to really tell you if you need to add or replace. Usually, intervals are going to be 300 to 400K on a coolant. A lot of the trucks don't even have coolant filters anymore. But keeping up with your coolant is very important as well. I know I don't mention that too much, but the reason why I say this is because every one of these trucks have wet liners, which means the liner is not made into the block, kind of like a smaller engine where these liners are dropped into the block and they're surrounded by coolant. Now those liners, since they're surrounded by coolant, it's very important that your coolant is kept up to par, because if not, you can cause corrosion, you can cause pitting, and just cause issues, clogging in your radiator, cause overheating. It could just cause just problems down the road. So good question, Marcus. I appreciate that. Guys, if you want to highlight your question, hit us up on Super Chat. I'm still going strong here. Got a couple more questions. Somebody told me to wake up. I don't know if that was to me. I am awake. I'm just concentrating on what we're talking about here. So if it looks like I'm getting sleepy, I'm actually pretty awake. I feel pretty good. Robert says, you don't need English with your knowledge. Hey, you know what? I would like, I'm brushing up on my, Spanish is my second language. But I would like to learn another language. I'm kind of debating whether I want to learn Arabic or I would like to learn one of the main languages in Africa. I want to say is Tigreña. I would like to learn Tigreña or Arabic, and in addition to my Spanish. So, yeah, I appreciate that comment there. English wasn't my best subject. Checking in from Cali, Mendoza. What's up? How's California? I know what are you guys, 2 hours from Texas? So it's still early over there, huh? Appreciate you joining us. David says, you're right. You're right. They don't have anything to do on price, but policy does. when you cancel oil leases, cancel the Keystone Pipeline, and cancel leases for fracking on federal land, it affects price. Good. If that's true, then yeah, that would affect oil. That would affect oil. Dallas, David Dallas, David Dallas. I bet you're from Dallas. If you may not be from Dallas. I know a guy with his last name Dallas. Appreciate that comment. I don't know why they're doing this. I don't know why they're canceling. It's all about the green. One thing I would like to mention about, and I know this because I knew somebody that worked in the oil field for a long time. He used to work. He was a project manager for a bunch of what do they call them? What do they call them? Where they're not the drill. Where they're drilling in the water and they have not the water, in the ground to get to the oil, and they have the site, if you want to call it. So he from the ground up. He's there from the ground up. He was there multiple projects in Colorado. And he was a big oil guy. He left the oil industry, and that's how I know him. And one thing that he mentioned, and this is probably something that's probably hurt in the oil industry as well, is that they go through so much training, and they go and they're so strict about their guidelines, about this, about that, about not doing this, and making sure this is done. But then when they're out in the field, all those guidelines and all those safety precautions just get thrown out the door. Now and that is not a good. That's not. If you got safety guidelines in place. Heck, we got safety guidelines in place that we're not going to overlook safety guidelines. Jack stands under trucks, chocks on the tires. We're not going to overlook these safety guidelines. So for some big companies like these oil industries, look at what's happening in the Gulf. I think they have a gas that caught on fire in the ocean. I don't know if they put that out yet, but that's just ridiculous. It doesn't look good for oil. You already got everybody wanting to go green. Everybody's wanting to go green. Now, here you are, just got this ball of fire that's happening in the Gulf of Mexico, and everyone overlooking safety precautions because they want to be a hard-ass oil guy, and they don't need safety. They don't need instructions. Guys, it's not a good look. It's definitely not a good. Same thing. It's just like the drivers that are out there on bald tires, driving their truck as if they're driving a car. It's not a good look, guys. It's not a good look. That's why our insurance is so high. That's why insurance covering all that is just high. Damien has a reply here on that Keystone comment. He says the Keystone Pipeline was the move to move oil sands from Canada and then sell it to other countries. Seriously. I don't see that the pipeline had anything to do with our oil. I know it probably had something to do with workers, and losing a lot of work. But I didn't really see the Keystone. I don't know what the Keystone was there for, so I really couldn't comment on that. But I don't think that would have affected fuel as well. I really think it was just them cutting down production, and then as you're mentioning, strikes are happening, and then the freeze that happened in Texas. And then boom, all this high demand, everybody just coming back from a pandemic and everybody getting vaccinated, and then everybody's saying, hey, it's okay to go back to doing normal, and then boom, everybody's using up all the gas. Because diesel is the same, gasoline is almost the same price as diesel, is what it looks like. And fracking produces gas. Damien, you don't have to be offensive, guy. We're all here to share knowledge. Drivers are he says drivers if you're looking at a P&L, profit loss statements, yeah, the drivers are probably going to be the last person to get paid. If you own the truck, yeah, you're the last person to get paid. But if you don't own a truck, usually you're trying to keep those drivers satisfied. So they are an expensive line item there. Restrictions on how oil can be produced, strategic oil reserves, foreign oil trade. Of course, the president influenced the price. There's a lot of comments about where the oil prices were coming from, and this is probably from earlier when I was talking about another item. But it's really interesting to get your guys' input on that. Hazmat permits cost money. Yeah, they do. So make sure you're getting paid if you're pulling hazmat. Ryder maintains their trucks pretty good. My friend's son does maintenance on Ryder trucks. But think of this way: how many internationals do you pass a day versus Freightliner Well, you see a lot of. I see mostly Freightliners, and Volvos. Detroit's a really large manufacturer. Freightliner is a large manufacturer. Freightliner is affordable. I think that's why you see more Freightliners on the road than you see Internationals or Volvos. They're just more affordable. We owners always come last. Love the channel, bro. I appreciate that, Tex. And it sucks that, hey, you know what? Owners come last too, man. That's just what it is. That's just how it is. I think that's the only thing. That's the only way in the United States. I mean, I know in other foreign countries it's not like that, but I mean, this is the United States. But you know what? I wouldn't want to live in any other country. I love the United States. I wouldn't want to live in any other country. And these are all comments. I'm not complaining about what we have. We have to work with what we have. It could be a lot worse. DD15 Trucker says, how much for a DD15 fuel injector cup replacement? We'll have to look at it. I mean, I couldn't give you a price right off my top of my head. There's going to be a lot of parts involved with that repair. And one thing I would definitely want to mention to you is to verify it is the cups. Now, pressurizing the system and viewing the cups is probably going to be your best bet. I appreciate that thumbs up, Cash is King Trucking. And I believe I might wrap this up, guys. I'm getting a little gassed out here, but I mean, it's really so many comments this year. I even see Transport on here. What's up, Transport? Long time no see as well. I've been great. Thank you for joining us. I don't know if you're still on with us, but I appreciate you joining us. I've been great. We've moved into our new shop. We're finally out of the old shop. We were fighting with that new owner. There was a new owner that bought that shop, Trash Horn. They're called Transhorn, but I call them Trash Horn because they don't know what the heck they're doing. It's like a bunch of minions running around. I don't mean to badmouth anybody, but it just, the guys moved into our shop and just caused a mess, and he was just so just ignorant to real estate and how to even own real estate and how to even do it. He ends up getting kicked out by the city. And then getting mad at us because he was just a mess. Trash Horn, shout out to Trash Horn and everybody that's with Trash Horn. Look at that stick background graphics. Yeah, you like that, right? You like that? It's pretty good. I like it too. Woohoo! Paid weekends. You're going back, man. I'm way behind on comments. That was like way earlier, and then I just moved my mouse and it just jumps. It just jumped like to the most recent comment. So yes, he's still here. What's up, Transport? I hope you're doing well. Thanks, Adam. It was very interesting. I appreciate you guys joining us today. I apologize if I didn't get to everybody's comment. I'm going to go ahead and probably end this stream just because I'm a little gassed out. We've already an hour and a half. I shot today. We shot 3 videos today. Yo, Virginia Beach in the house. I could just reach over to some of the ones I haven't got to here. What's up, Sean? What's up? How you doing? Ivan says, do you know why the one box DPF filters, the chamber is full of dry DEF inside? That's very common. When you have DEF, excessive DEF buildup, clean it out and make sure that you're not leaking any DEF. Get that cleaned out and make sure you purge it and clean your DEF filter or replace your DEF filter. Make sure that you're meeting. If you're dealing with a Detroit, you can run a regen and see if it's converting. If it's converting, then you're good. A lot of that buildup actually sometimes helps conversions. I've seen a lot of buildup and the conversions stay low. A lot of that buildup can block the dozer, so that's normal, Ivan. It's going to need to be cleaned. David says again, hey, Adam, are you less problems with CNG semi-trucks than regular diesels? I don't service CNG. We're only diesel combustible engines internal. Well, I mean, CNG is internal combustion as well. But no, we don't service CNG. I mean, I would like to, but we just don't. We have so much diesel work. So shout out to everybody that's at the shop. I appreciate everybody that's gave us the opportunity to work with you guys. High and low prices. People need to be fed. U.S. #1 consumer. It is the #1 consumer, and one of the #1 consumers. And we need to produce as well. We need to move around. We need to, if they're going to be rebuilding our power grid, we can't do it from home. You need all this food. We need all these. We need to move the product from the ships, from the ports, to the stores so they can make it to your house. So we need drivers. We need mechanics to keep trucks moving. So I mean, all these trades are needed. I mean, engineers are needed. And all these different trades are going to be needed. So I appreciate everybody joining us today. I was about to end it, but I just kind of feel bad for not getting to all these questions. He says, how is the new shop? It's great. I just ordered some cold front fans because we don't have insulation. The roof it does have reflective, but it is a little warm in there. I was there today. It was, I'm there during the summertime. It's a little warm, so we got cold front fans coming in. Hopefully they'll make it in before the heat's over with. And also, I'm gonna be getting quoted spray foam for the roof and some of the walls, most of the walls. So, guys, if you're watching and my technicians, we're gonna be getting you cooled off. It's not that hot in there with the exhaust coming through there. I mean, it's hard to beat this heat, guys. It is really hard to beat this heat. This Texas heat is no joke. What'd he say, Frankie? What'd he say? He forgot what was he talking about? Man, there's so many comments on here that I didn't get to, guys. I appreciate everybody that's joined us today. If you didn't hit that like button, make sure to hit that like button. I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. I appreciate everybody that's joined us today. If you'd like to visit us at our shop, we're at our new location, 4140 Langdon Road, Dallas, Texas, 75241. You can call us at 972-225-3017. And as I mentioned, we are looking to add on to our team. So we're looking for a diesel technician. We have enough diesel guys right now, but we can add on. And we also need somebody on the front counter. So if you're interested, if you know parts, if you know this industry, shout out to us. You can apply online on our careers page at tatexpressinc.com, or you can send us your information at info@tatexpressinc.com. Guys, I appreciate everybody that's here. California is at $4.33 a gallon. That's high. That's really high. California is always high. California is always high, but that's why they pay you guys so much to pull out of there. So that's it. That's what it is. So, guys, I appreciate everybody that's joined us. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, even though I want to get to all these comments. I got more content coming to you guys. We are moved in. We got getting the clothes wrapped up, so I'm going to get more time on my hands so that we can actually shoot more videos. I was really excited about shooting today, so appreciate everybody that's joined us. I hope you guys have a good evening. We should have a video out this Wednesday, and I may go live again this Wednesday. So just to share some more information with you guys. So appreciate everybody's support. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel if you're not subscribed yet. And if you have a friend that's not subscribed to us, shoot them one of our videos. Tell them to subscribe to us. Well, a lot of our information that I'm sharing here is very useful to you owner operators, or if you guys wanted to get into the trucking industry, guys. So I appreciate everybody's super chat. I'm going to buy me something to eat. I appreciate everybody's support. Again, if you want to schedule an appointment at the shop, if you're coming through Texas, call us at 972-225-3017. I appreciate everybody that's joined us tonight. Have a good evening. And until next time, guys, be safe.